Hi friends, so welcome to Faint Signals from Vega. My name's Trish Roberts. Um, I thought I'd do this outside again today because the weather, it's autumn weather and it's fairly calm and fine weather, so I think that will probably hold out until I finish talking about this particular issue. For those of you who may not be familiar with where Tasmania is, we're at the southern tip of Australia, and it's only, 1,000 or so miles to Antarctica from here, and the weather is usually fairly mild. It doesn't get too cold, it doesn't get too hot. It's sort of, well, it's perfect for me, but I'm actually very fond of cold weather. So this suits me very well. Somebody that's from Queensland originally, that suits me very well. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to do something outside instead of inside. And also it gets very windy in Tasmania, so this is an unusual day, so sometimes it can get fairly windy. The topic I wanted to talk today about, as you can see from the title of the video, is A Dog's Purpose, which is a movie that was brought out, I think, at the beginning of this year. And it's about a dog called Josh, and the synopsis of the movie, I haven't seen the movie. I don't want to see it because I don't like supporting movies where animals are actually used as actors like this one. It's hard, of course, to avoid movies that are that don't. I mean, all movies use animals. Everybody's eating animal products, and they're also sometimes, if it's not a digital film, there's the actual film itself has animal products in it. Anyway, there's animal products are everywhere, so it's impossible unless you never ever want to. Unless you live in a cave, basically, you're not going to be able to. There's unintentional use of animal products everywhere. But I'm vegan, so I do my best to avoid animal products in my diet and in my clothes and that kind of thing. So, and I avoid participating in animal exploitation by going to anything where animals are, like circuses or zoos or whatever. So I do my best, but and it's an ethical position. So it's a great thing to be. I invite you to watch the other couple of videos I've done just before this, and I talk about that. It's the best thing that I've ever done, is become vegan. One of the best things, I'd say, close to the best thing. So. But back to A Dog's Purpose. Even the title, of course, is, I just knew when I saw that title, and I heard about it through a thread on social media. Somebody said, asked somebody else, have you seen A Dog's Purpose? And I just guessed before even seeing it. I thought, I bet you that the dog's purpose is to make humans happy in some ways, and to be like this conduit to their happiness. And sure enough, it reminds me in some ways of, when you've probably seen old black and white movies where, or even in recent times, you see minority groups as they don't have any sort of life of their own, in a way. They are there for the purpose of usually the white heterosexual main character, and they're there for that purpose. They're not really there for any other purpose. They don't have any other sort of life or identity or anything. They're there for the purpose of usually a white heterosexual person, and oftentimes you see, gay characters in the past, they don't seem to have any sort of life of their own. It's all lived through and supporting the white heterosexual person often. And you see it in very old black and white films where, there'll be a black maid who is just basically fussing around the white, usually a wealthy woman, and their whole existence, they present this black person, this black woman usually, as that all she cares about is the happiness of the white woman in the movie. Her whole life is to serve and make that white woman happy, and they present this black woman as being completely fulfilled through being in service to that white wealthy woman. So that's the narrative and the propaganda put out by the Hollywood movie industry. And of course, this is what happens with various minority groups. It's everything where our existence is only in reference to the what is considered the main paradigm, white and heterosexual, and oftentimes, sort of wealthy. The sort of the master and the the master and the servant kind of thing, or the sidekick gay person. I've yet to see actually that it's slowly changing. Of course, I'm going away now from talking about a dog's purpose, but I'm going to get to that because it's relevant. It's all connected, which often animal, non-human and human issues are often connected, because how we treat one group, non-human animals, we often do or have done or whatever, and the other way around. It's all connected. So gay people are often sidekicks to often white heterosexual actors in these particular movies. And of course they are Hollywood movies, but in some ways they are a reflection. It's a reflection of society at the time. And not a whole lot has changed in a way, but that's Hollywood, and they're there to make money and to serve the main the main narrative, which is white people are fabulous, and our culture, or whatever our culture is, Western culture is great and important and exceptional, and everybody else's culture is sort of weird and strange. That's what we do as white people. We like to dictate and also homogenize the rest of the world with our very strange, unfettered, capitalist, neoliberalist culture. And this is in some ways why we have the mess we're in now, because we're on the precipice of extinction. So well done, white patriarchal society. Patriarchy, yes, is taking us to the end point. Anyway, so back to the dog's purpose. As what I'm trying to say is that, minority groups are always in reference to a main, sort of white patriarchal heterosexual kind of narrative or whatever, or it's all. And when it comes to non-human animals, when they're presented in films, and of course that's just a reflection of society, animals are always they're just in the background or in reference to the human main central characters, and they only have an existence, they only have worth if the human, if the movie producers and the human characters in there invest worth in them, I guess you could say, show that they're individuals, that that they're individuals. So in this particular film, which I haven't seen and I won't see, but I just gathered from the synopsis of it, it said that Josh, the dog, found, in quotes, quote, its meaning, mind you, its meaning, through the young boy who's in this film, finds its meaning and makes this boy's life happier, and everybody becomes happier or something through this dog and the generations of dogs after that. So I find it amazing that they even say its meaning when the dog obviously seems to be a main character. They can't even give that dog a gender. But anyway, that's sort of typical. We're so speciesist, even when we're making a movie which has made over $100 million so far. or more, we can't even give that dog a gender, and we have to sort of use the word it. But anyway, so that sort of was exactly what I thought it would be. And when I saw the title A Dog's Purpose, I thought, well, I'm sure that dog's purpose will be in serving humans, because you know, when it comes to, you know, the domesticated animals, that's often presented in films. And a lot of us, you know, I know a lot of people who really only consider, they haven't broken through their speciesism to see the animals that they're living with, the dogs and cats, as individuals so much. They see them more as just someone to keep them company. And even though they might actually develop a relationship with them, I mean, that's why the pet industry is so huge, because a lot of people do develop relationships with the dogs, cats, and other animals they live with. There's still this level of speciesism where most animals end up in shelters, and I put that in quotes because they're usually just like slaughterhouses in a way, for example, in New York City, the animal control shelter there kills sort of dozens of cats and dogs every single day in that particular shelter, you know, the animal control people. And that's what happens, you know. But anyway, that's how it is for most dogs and cats. Anyway, and a lot of cats and dogs end up in shelters at Christmas because people get tired of them and then they replace them with a new dog, which is a puppy or something. And then when that puppy is no longer cute, then they find another puppy. I mean, it's it's terrible that animals are objectified like that. But I mean, we do that. The animals that are on our plates and on our backs, like the dairy, eggs, flesh, etc., all of that, it's all, they were once animals who loved life just like we did, and did not want to die. And they were just like the dogs and cats, whom we love and consider family members. Most of us consider dogs and cats family members. That's, you know, they're all morally important. They're all important. But we can't see that. We can't see that they're all equally morally important, and that if we had a relationship with any of those animals whom now we've killed and they're on our plates, that we would have developed the same kind of personal relationship with them. It didn't matter that they were another species. But of course, it doesn't matter if we have a personal relationship with them or not. And it doesn't matter what we think of them, or if they're like us or they're not like us, they don't show emotion like us or anything like that, anything else. They exist for their own purposes. So they exist for their own reasons. So, and that's the problem. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. I'm just watching my feline friend there. Yes, so the dog's purpose, the movie. A lot of people, of course, will go to that movie, and it just reinforces that a dog doesn't have his own purpose, which was to not be living in a domesticated situation where humans have control over them. They've been domesticated to end up being so dependent on humans that they would not be able to survive in the wild. And that's the problem. They're completely dependent now on us. And of course, some dogs are dumped in forests and they end up surviving and they become kind of wild. But a lot of dogs they've been bred in all sorts of perverted ways, and they have all sorts of health problems, just so that we can look at them and think, isn't that an interesting looking dog? But they have all sorts of health problems, and all sorts of health problems, and that benefits the veterinarian industry, because so many animals now have so many health problems just through genetic manipulation that they're actually profiting too. Everybody profits, everybody wins, except animals. But anyway, this dog, of course, this dog, Josh, who actually, fortunately, was given a name in this movie, that dog, his purpose isn't in relation to how we value him, or that how we serve him, or how he makes us feel better, how he makes that child feel better. I mean, it's lovely that I guess I haven't seen the movie, but I assume that they were a loving family and they love Josh the dog. So I'm glad that Josh came across this family. If he had to be looked after by humans, that it was with this family. But Josh, of course, his existence is not valuable because it is in relation to us, in relation to humans. His value isn't, excuse me, his value has nothing to do with how he serves us and what we think of him. And his purpose has nothing to do with us. It's just that he's been domesticated, and now through domestication, dogs have such a strong bonding in some ways with humans. They're so reliant on them that when humans go out for the day to work, they fret at home, a lot of them. A lot of dogs, when humans go out to work, often fret, and they're very anxious, and they really require a lot of emotional input because they're not in any sort of pack, which is the natural sort of a natural existence for a dog, is to be in a pack and have a particular alpha dog that's a leader. And then, of course, when they're with humans, which all dogs tend to be, and oftentimes many dogs are alone with a human family, they see that the humans are the pack leader. And of course, sometimes the pack leader, who is a human, is very abusive. That's a very, very common thing. So unfortunately, a lot of dogs are abused, and there's a lot of power abuse within that sort of pack leader human and the dog. And that's very sad. But as humans, we tend to abuse power. We have a tendency to abuse power. If you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, that's kind of like the epitome of, sort of presenting power and how corrupting an influence it is. And of course, we have the ability to lord over power over non-human animals, and we do, because we kill 1 trillion land and aquatic animals. We kill 1 trillion land and aquatic animals every year for trivial reasons of mostly palate pleasure. And of course, we don't need to eat animal products to survive. We can easily survive without them, easily. I mean, I've been vegan for 12 years now. I've never felt healthier in my life. I don't take any medications. My blood pressure is 120 on something. I feel really good. We don't need animal products, and there's heaps of vegans who prove that point. And vegan food is delicious, and I'm not wearing any animal products on my body, including my shoes, and I do my best to not intentionally use animals. As I said, animal use, I think I might have said that earlier. I had to restart the video again. But animal use is pervasive. Animal products are in everything. But I do my very best to avoid, wearing leather, wool, silk, and those kind of things, and I don't eat animal products in my food. The point I'm making really here is that, in the end, animals aren't here for us to use. They're not even, and they're not here even when they relate to us and they love us and everything. Their purpose was never. I'm talking now about just dogs and cats and animals that we consider companion animals and family members. They were never, their purpose is not, even if they're in a situation, they're in a family, their purpose is for their own existence and their own happiness. They're not here to please us and to make us feel better. They might do that because we've domesticated them to the point where they cannot survive outside of the human constraints that we put on them. And they do, cats and dogs, we can have lovely relationships with them. And I love the cats who live with me very, very much, very much. But they're not, I also see that they're completely dependent on what I feed them, where they sleep, whether I take them to a vet or not, all of that. And when they're completely dependent, I feel very sad about that. But we're doing the best we can within a non-vegan species society, which views animals as property and resources. So I do my best working within that unfortunate framework, which I try to challenge every day with vegan education and with, say, videos like this, or with my podcast, vegantrove.com. Just in my daily life, if I have the opportunity to discuss veganism with people, I try and inject it into conversation somewhere, because it is an important issue and lives depend on it. It's an ethical position and lives depend on the society becoming vegan. Not only non-human lives depend on it, but human lives depend on it, because our attitudes towards animals, they transfer to humans. We're doing what we do to non-human animals, we are doing and have done to humans. And we're using humans as resources these days, literally. I won't go into that. And we're also otherizing humans. If we want to take over somebody's country, we otherize them, and I've talked about that in the last couple of videos. We otherize them so that we can we can vilify them, so that we can manufacture consent to then take over their country and their resources. And that's what we're doing in the Middle East. The Western countries are doing in the Middle East, U.S. empire, etc. So we particularly we humans have to realize that non-human animals are 99.99% of the planet's population, and we have exploited and oppressed them because we can. Because we can. It's the human supremacist thing. And we also suppress and exploit and kill humans in other lands because we can get away with it, because we might have a very, very powerful army like the U.S. empire. And we do that because we can. The U.S. empire does it because they can, and Western countries, and because Western countries, allies of the U.S. empire, go along with that because we can get away with it. It's not right. Might does not make right, but unfortunately, in society, in this world, in patriarchal society, this is how it seems to go. But I challenge the dominant paradigm, the dominant belief that animals are property. I try and challenge that every day, and I do my best to, in my own small way, to try and address this issue in as many forms, as many mediums as I can. I'm not the most knowledgeable speaker about this. I'm not the most eloquent speaker or presenter on this issue, probably. I'm just trying to do my own little thing to try and change the dominant narrative, the dominant paradigm, the property status, our belief that animals are property. I'm trying to challenge that in as many ways as I can. And I hope that if anybody's listening who is vegan, I hope that you will do that, and I hope that you'll check out my some of my vegan resource. It's a comprehensive vegan resource. It's a podcast called howtogovegan.org. I hope that you'll check it out. It's got great information about animal ethics, which I think would help you, put you in good stead to to be able to address this issue without it becoming about diets. And a lot of the things that people tend to talk about today aren't about veganism. They're not about veganism. They're about plant-based dieting, health and environment and whatever. And that's not veganism. Of course, those are ancillary benefits of being vegan: health and environment, addressing climate change. And I speak about that a couple of videos ago. That's certainly affects animals, other non-human animals, as well as humans. Climate change does. The 51% of greenhouse gases that animal agriculture contributes to climate change. Of course, that affects so many things. But I mean, what I'm saying is that the animal ethics, the information on the how to go vegan, and also the blog site uvearchives.wordpress.com, that's also an excellent blog to check out, which focuses on animal ethics, which is what veganism is. I invite you to check that out. I'll put those links in the information section. So those types of things, animal ethics, learning about that is what veganism is, and it puts you in good stead to be able to talk about this in a clear way, in a morally consistent way, which isn't fetishizing certain animals, certain species, and it isn't presenting the idea that some forms of animal use are worse than others. It's all wrong, including the happy animal farming, the humane animal product labels, etc. All of it, any use of non-human animals is it's unnecessary and it's morally unjustifiable. So anyway, Josh, the dog, in The Dog's Purpose, A Dog's Purpose. I mean, how arrogant are we to think that these individuals are here just, their purpose is to bring happiness to us and for us to and to vicariously live through us or whatever. But this is something that we've done, as I've mentioned earlier in this. We've done it to minority groups in our presentations in Hollywood movies. We do it all the time. We present minority groups as their happiness and their worth is through supporting white heterosexual people or whatever, or it's or rich people, or our purpose, LGBTQ people, their purpose is to be a sidekick to a white heterosexual person, and they have no existence. I mean, it's a sort of a, and as somebody from the LGBTQ community, it's a yawn, and it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate to see, and the also awful the terrible stereotypes that they promote of LGBTQ people. It's, very sad. That's for another video. That's for another presentation. So sometimes I tend to get sidetracked on talking about trying to further explain something, and I get right off the topic. That's a problem I tend to have, but when I talk about these issues, so please excuse me when I sometimes go off on these tangents. That's really all I wanted to say about A Dog's Purpose. It's unfortunate, of course, and we also already fetishize dogs, and yet the sad thing is that all of us who think that dogs are fabulous, that they're wonderful, they tend to display unconditional love, and they, even when we accidentally hurt them, like stand on them accidentally, they immediately forget about it, and they appear to think that we're all one, they accept us completely, the appearance of accepting us completely, and that's why in many ways humans love dogs and cats so much, and particularly dogs, because the acceptance is something that we rarely get, the full acceptance and the happiness to see us, and the consistency and all of that. We rarely get that in society from anyone at all, particularly now that society is, the communities have kind of been pulled apart and destroyed through neoliberalist, unfettered capitalist policies through government. Communities are kind of destroyed and pulled apart, and now a lot of people tend to have artificial kind of virtual communities because they don't have communities in a physical sense. And so I think that's one of the reasons too, one of the increases in, this sort of drive for, there's so much focus on dogs and cats, and is because people are kind of bereft in a way. Humans are kind of bereft of sort of a interactions with other humans, which are sort of fulfilling and accepting, and they're consistent. We hardly have any neighbors anymore who stay in one place for more than a couple of years. So this is the sort of we're really, really, I think, craving sort of communities and acceptance and consistency and all of that, and we're not getting it. So the fetishization of dogs and cats and the whole pet industry is booming. That's part of it. Also the fact that we're speciesist and not vegan, and we see animals as, resources and commodities and companions and all of that. So that's all part of it. Of course, speciesism is the big driver there. So I just wanted to say to you that if you become vegan, I hope that you will consider becoming vegan and check out howtogovegan.org, my comprehensive vegan resource. It has nutrition information on it as well. I hope that you check it out and consider becoming vegan, because once you do, and I'm talking about becoming vegan for ethical reasons, which is what veganism is. Once you do become vegan for ethical reasons, your whole perception of the world changes, your whole view of the world in some ways changes, and it becomes enriched, and it becomes more sensitive, and it also it just opens your eyes really to a whole new world, which is a good thing. It's a good thing, and it's also vital to us becoming more human, more in a good way, more loving people, more. It brings nonviolence and justice into our lives more. We need a more nonviolent world. We need a world where we're not persecuting the vulnerable. And we're doing that every second of every day to non-human animals, because we're eating, wearing, and using them, eating animal products and everything, and using them. And we're doing it every day to people from other groups that we've otherized to the point where we think it's okay to bomb them out of existence and then take their countries, like we've done to Iraqis in their country. It's just a bunch of fiefdoms now. And we did it on false pretenses. And that's what we're doing everywhere now, Western governments. And that's a tragedy. And that's because we've managed to otherize people in the Middle East through media, which is corporate owned. We've managed to, and our governments who do the divide and conquer thing, they've managed to otherize groups so that we can imperialize, colonize their countries. And it's all related. It's all related because they're all vulnerable groups, just like what we're doing in Yemen right now. Look into that, what Western countries who are backing Saudi Arabia have done in Yemen right now. And I bring Yemen up a lot because one child every 10 minutes is dying of starvation and disease, and now cholera is there because US empire has backed Saudi Arabia and is to bomb, it's like an ethnic cleansing in Yemen, and it's a tragedy. Now we're just basically destroying the country and wiping out the children and the civilian population. And I urge you to look at that because it's horrific. This is what our governments are doing in our name, in our name, you know, it's appalling, and it's all. That's why I say it's all related. What we're doing to non-human animals, they're vulnerable, and we do it because we can. It's a human supremacist thing, and what we're doing to people in other countries that we've objectified and vilified through false propaganda, through propaganda basically, we're able to destroy those countries and kill those people. So you might wonder why why Arun has a little material bright collar on, because it's actually an excellent bird deflector. I usually do supervision of the guys outside, and that's why sometimes I get very distracted, because I'm doing this video, but I'm also supervising them. Anyway, so but anyway, that's the point I wanted to make. That's why I often bring in human issues when I talk about non-human animals, because we have to kind of start to see that it is all related. They're not separate. Our attitudes to non-human animals, we also do the same things to humans. You know, it's all sort of related. And until we realize that and become vegan and stop our oppression and exploitation of such a vulnerable group and the violence that involves. And it's all, every single one of us. It's not industry that's doing it. It's not slaughterhouses that are doing it. We are responsible because we are driving the violence. We create demand for animal products and animal use, and slaughterhouses and industry are just supplying our demand. It's just a simple matter of economics. So let's just become vegan and not get caught up in large animal groups and all the stuff they go on about. We must boycott this industry and that industry and stop buying this, you know, from KFC until they start treating animals better and all this nonsense. Let's just go vegan, and let's educate others to go vegan. And let's stop seeing animals as if they're here for us, for our purposes, and that their value relies on how we think about them and our investment in them. They are here for their own existence, and it's good that we adopt and rescue animals from shelters. That's really important, but it's really important that we become vegan and stop viewing animals as that they're in existence to serve us and to be our resources, commodities, companions, etc. A vegan world is the answer to peace. If it starts with that, it's a first step to a non-violent life. So let's go vegan, and let's start this non-violent justice movement. It's the greatest grassroots movement today, the vegan movement. Let's really go with that, and let's make it grow exponentially, and it will grow exponentially. We just have to become vegan and then educate others to do so. And it's not a one plate at a time thing. It will go exponentially. And it is. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to say. Thanks very much for watching. You're watching Faint Signals from Vega. My name's Trish Roberts. Please join me again. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please like the Facebook page at Vegan Trove Extra, and the Twitter is at Vegan Trove Extra. So please like that, and please feel free to leave comments and in the comments in the comments section if you wish. Keep it civil if you can, and I look forward to your company next time. Bye for now.